What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Guna channel, and today I'm taking a close look at a player we have been very heavily linked with, who may well be making the transfer to Arsenal this summer in a position I think we do need covering. We will get a chance to watch him tonight. I am, of course, talking about Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. I looked it up. He is Fenerbahce's left back and has been playing as left back for Turkey in the Euros, and pretty well, it has to be said. The news today that Jose Mourinho, the new Fenerbahce manager, is going to have the last say on this. So whilst Ferdi is heavily linked with a move to Borussia Dortmund and Arsenal, it will be Jose Mourinho's call on this one, and that's not necessarily great news. He's never really had a lot of love for Arsenal. But the player himself is said to be very keen on the switch to Arsenal, and in May it was actually reported that he'd agreed personal terms. How true that is, it seems very unlikely given that he still hasn't agreed a contract. So, with him still in the Euros, tonight playing against Austria, the 8 o'clock kickoff, the final game of the last 16 to determine the last quarter-final place. They're both playing to see who goes through to either Romania or the Netherlands, who play the earlier game to determine that quarter-final. And it's been reported that Arsenal will be scouting Ferdi tonight, along with Arda Güler. There was also some rumours that he might be somebody that we're bringing in. That's not happening. Arda Güler is committed to Madrid. Madrid are committed to Arda Güler. And frankly, having watched him in the Euros, you can absolutely understand why. So not Arda Güler, but definitely Ferdi Kadıoğlu. Now, since it was reported that we were interested in him, and I don't watch Turkish football, so I don't really know that much about him, nor did I know much about him when he was at NEC in Holland. But when it comes to Arsenal transfers, one of the things that makes this very likely, as far as I can see, is that we do have a tendency to want to go out there and buy versatile players. And there are a few players with the level of versatility of Ferdi Kadıoğlu. He started off in the 19 to 20 season as a left winger. The season after, he moved to right wing. Then he mostly played at right back. And last season, in what was a really good season, his best season so far for Fenerbahce, he was a left back. But the kind of left back, more similar to like a Kieran Tierney, hugs the touchline more, can move up and down the pitch, is keen on the overlap, and keeps the ball well, tackles well, intercepts, good positional awareness, carries the ball really well, and does contribute with a few goals here and there. The other thing about him is he's available for around 25 million, which in today's terms is an absolute bargain. And certainly if you looked at last season, some of the problems we had in terms of bringing Martinelli into the game, there weren't the players bombing forward. When Zinchenko plays, he likes to come inside. When Kivior plays, he likes to hold back, as does Tomiyasu. They're not really mobile. Ferdi Kadıoğlu is definitely that. He is fast. Now, games I've seen him play in the Euros so far, played really, really well against Georgia, kept the ball well, kept the game moving, overlapped when needed, came inside if he had to, and had good defensive positional skills. Game against Portugal didn't go quite as well for Ferdi. They were beaten 3-0, but he was left very isolated against Bernardo Silva and João Cancelo, and that's a handful for anyone. He's only 24 years old. He's contracted to 2026. And I think tonight we're going to get a chance to see him. Now, look, obviously Austria go into this game tonight as huge favourites. And as an Austrian by birth, I am really, really excited that we might make it to the quarterfinals. When the two sides met in March, Austria won highly convincingly. It was 6-1. But Ferdi didn't play that night. And Gregoritsch had an outstanding game, which I'm very much hoping he will tonight as well. But Austria aren't really likely to test him as much on that left side. So Ferdi could be more used to Turkey bombing forward. I'm really interested in watching him play. I haven't seen him play a bad game yet. As I said, the Portugal game, he looked a little bit out of sorts. Now, Arsenal left-back is a position that we have to look at. Zinchenko seems to have fallen out of favour. He doesn't perform the same kind of role that Ferdi would anyway, so it isn't contingent on him leaving that we would bring Kadıoğlu in, because different games require different strengths. If you're looking for a player to populate that midfield and create from there against perhaps a low block, then certainly Zinchenko's probably a better bet as an inverted fullback. Kadıoğlu is not really an inverted fullback, but like I said, last season, one of the problems we had was leaving our left side quite isolated. And there aren't really players in our team that look to overlap Martinelli. Ferdi would be one of those. But leaving that to one side, there is, of course, a need for us to go out and sign a winger as well that can play left and right. And whilst I don't think Ferdi is an adequate replacement for, let's say, Bukayo Saka or Martinelli, definitely throughout the game to give you more options. As I said right at the beginning, Arsenal always tend to look at players who are at the right age bracket, which Ferdi is. We try not to spend too much when we don't have to. This is a bargain at around 25 million. And versatility. If there's one thing that we all know about our team at the moment is that we like players to be able to play in more than one position and offer us a choice. Kiwior has shown that he can do that to some degree. Tomiyasu is incredibly versatile across the back four. But neither of those add the attack play of a winger. And if we also need to have more wingers in the team to give us more options, then I think Ferdi Kadıoğlu is the player. Let me know in the comments how you feel about him, if you know a little bit more about him. As I said, I've only really started watching him in the Euros. I've, of course, gone through the highlights clips. I'm really keen to hear what you think. But the rumours today abound that he has decided he wants to come to Arsenal. Jose Mourinho may well not want him to and may decide to hold on to him, but then you are holding on to a player who doesn't really want to play for you and getting in the way of a potential 25 to 30 million transfer, which is not bad for Fenerbahce, who could then use the money elsewhere. So, let's all get ready to watch Ferdi Kadıoğlu lose against Austria, but play really well. Perhaps even score a goal, but lose. Definitely want them to lose. I want to see Austria in the quarterfinals. I never thought I would. Hopefully you can join me in cheering them on, because ultimately, if England do get past Switzerland, massive if, because I've got to be honest with you, I'm not feeling hugely confident. I don't know if you are, but that could set up a tie of a lifetime for me. England versus Austria. And of course, I will be cheering for England, as I've supported England since 1982. But would be great to see Austria in the big stage. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you feel about Ferdi Kadıoğlu. If there's somebody that you think is a better fit, or if you actually think, look, we don't really need left backs. We've got Kieran Tierney coming back. I think that when you compare Kadıoğlu to Kieran Tierney, Kadıoğlu comes out slightly ahead, hasn't got any injury problems, and is more versatile and more attack-minded. So I'm really excited about this one, but nothing is confirmed yet, and we may have a better idea if Turkey get knocked out, or should I say when Turkey get knocked out tonight. So, Arsenal fans, let me know what you think. Until I see you again later, be lucky, lots of love.